Hello everybody, GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about the 5th episode of Season 2 of Walking Dead. You know, we've been flipping between Better Call Saul and Walking Dead. That's about to end for the weekend, because I can get 2 videos out a day. I'm going to be at home this weekend, so try to get maybe even a Madden video out if my team gets any better. I'm not sure, I might try to play that tonight. And again, NFL season doesn't start till next week, so that series has 3 episodes already. I think that's enough for you guys, really. But and 2K's coming out next Friday. I probably won't be able to play that till like the start of the week after, because I shipped it to my house and I'm out at college, so I probably won't get it till then. But we're gonna go through the plot. We're gonna go through the critical reception of this, and then that's gonna be it for the day. You know, one episode, one video at a time for the YouTube channel now, and then obviously on the weekends we'll get a lot more going, so that's fun. In the opening flashback, Lori and Shane, escaping to a refugee center at the onset of the Walker epidemic, watch in horror as military helicopters drop napalm on Atlanta. And when you're first watching this flashback, you're like, oh my goodness, are we talking about the CDC getting bombed? But it doesn't really make sense, because they just met the refugee group, and I don't know why I thought it was the CDC, actually. They already met the refugee group. I don't know, man. I wasn't really thinking of the details. That was a brain fart moment for me. I'm sorry, but yeah. Drop napalms on Atlanta, and obviously Lori's looking on and fearing for the people's lives there that are still alive, and the possibility that Rick could be there, because he pretty much was there like right before they did this. Maybe not. I don't know how the storylines line up. They don't really describe that. But in the present, the survivors continue their search for the missing Sophia. You know, they're very adamant about this search. They're very like perseverant. They have a lot of perseverance. They're showing a lot of confidence that they'll find her. In reality, it's probably not going to happen. I don't remember if they find Sophia, so that's a storyline that's still kind of hanging in the air, and it hasn't been completed yet, although developments are coming in. Herschel expresses his concern to Rick that his group has gotten too comfortable on his farmlands. You know, you don't just go on, regardless of zombie apocalypse or not, you don't just go on someone's property and start doing what the fuck you want. And that's what Herschel's feeling like Rick's group's kind of doing, maybe out of desperation. It's not really justifiable if you're like, they're not destroying any of his properties. They're just kind of going against his morals and his principles and stuff. Herschel is particularly concerned on how close Glenn and his daughter Maggie appear to be. That really isn't even the biggest problem. I mean, people are out here getting pregnant on the camp. People are stealing his horses. I mean, Glenn getting close with his daughter, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, they're in an apocalyptic situation. There's not a lot of fish in the sea right now. You know, the saying, there's plenty of fish in the sea, that doesn't apply to an apocalyptic environment. Meanwhile, Glenn accidentally learns that Lori is pregnant, and she asks him to keep it a secret from Rick. We'll see how long that secret lasts. That's a storyline that's developing, obviously, from the cliffhanger from the 4th episode, Lori getting pregnant. I know what happens to the baby. It's one of the more memorable parts of the show, and it's kind of fucked up. So, yeah. Let's just move on from that. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. During a search party, Shane tells Rick the search is pointless and they should continue on to Fort Benning. So kind of this young, naive, selfish side of Shane that will be seen throughout this show is kind of shining through once again here. He's like, look, we've been looking for her for a couple days, 3-4 days now. If she doesn't show up, I mean, she's a damn child. She's very dependent on higher powers of adults, and you know, she's by herself, so who knows what the hell happened to her. I mean, it's a pretty realistic mindset, but I mean, I like Rick being optimistic in this situation. If they haven't found her dead body, then it's not over yet, you know. Fort Benning was their next location. They weren't even supposed to settle into the greenhouse. Rick later confides in Lori that Shane may be right. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's right. It's kind of like a battle for Lori, and Rick's kind of like bowing down to Shane in the moment, although Rick doesn't really realize that Shane cheated, or his wife cheated on him with Shane, but yeah, it's kind of like a subtle thing. Like, now that the audience knows that Shane and Lori had an affair, it's like Rick and Shane kind of have this rivalry going on, like this like subtle rivalry. Lori privately confronts Shane, reminding him that her and Carl's well-being are no longer his problem as the father figure. Rick is back, and Shane just cares so much about them. He got so much of an emotional attachment while Rick was in the hospital and trying to survive that he can't just let that go. Daryl goes out on horseback searching for Sophia, eventually coming across her doll in a riverbed. Very unfortunate stuff happens to Daryl. Daryl goes through a lot. This was a crazy episode. This almost was Daryl's episode if you really look at it. He had the bigger storyline. He had the more of the camera time. As he follows the river, a snake frightens his horse and he is thrown and is severely wounded by one of his crossbow bolts in the fall. So he's falling, his bag of arrows is like jangling around and he gets stabbed in the back by one of his arrows. Very unlucky, very unfortunate. A lot of unfortunate things happen to Daryl in this episode. This is the right mic. Okay, sorry about you raped you guys. He starts to hallucinate his missing brother Merle, who berates him for spending more time searching for Sophia than him. Now, at first when you're watching it, you're like, oh man, that could actually be Merle. I mean, it's not a terrible guess of him to be out in the woods in the middle of nowhere fleeing Atlanta. You don't want to be in you don't even want to be in anywhere where there's houses because there could be walkers around in the population there. So at first you're like, oh my goodness, Merle's actually alive, but we realize, Daryl's losing blood. He's starting to hallucinate like crazy, so that's probably not it. Daryl wakes in time to find a walker chewing on his shoe. He quickly dispatches it and another approaching walker and takes their ears as a trophy necklace. So we kind of get some badassery out of Daryl in this episode. Again, so much character development, so many crazy things happen to this guy. And Merle is like the zombie. He's like hallucinating a zombie as his brother. His brother may as well be a zombie at this point. I don't even know what happened to Merle, actually. I don't remember if he was alive or not. I don't know. Daryl limps towards the farm and from a distance is mistaken as a walker. Andrea shoots him, grazing his head and knocking him unconscious. Very luckily that she didn't hit him directly in the head. First he gets stabbed with an arrow, then he gets grazed by a bullet in the head, which still fucking probably could have taken out some of his skull. Probably could have chipped his skull a little bit, and that's not good to have a little dent in your head like that. But even the edge of a bullet, at the speed a bullet travels, just grazing your head, that's gotta hurt like hell. It almost might hurt more than getting directly shot with a bullet, to be honest with you. It's just because it's like a big ass gash, like where But people, a lot of the Walking Dead stands talk about how Andrea is one of the most hated characters in the show. And at this point in the show, you're starting to realize, she's like, where the fuck are my guns? And then they give her a gun and she shoots someone. The way her emotions bleed through in a lot of situations is just not a likable trait. Yeah, so I understand why people don't like her. I mean, I was kind of the same, I think, when I first watched this. Rick reaches Daryl first and hides the walker ear necklace before Herschel can see it. He doesn't want... Daryl and Herschel probably wouldn't cooperate with each other. Their personalities are very different. Daryl is treated when he wakes, he tells Carol what he had found, for which she's grateful. She's like, at least he walked out with something. Carol and Lori attempt to repay Herschel for his hospitality by cooking dinner, but tensions remain high. He's like, okay, I guess I can cook dinner. I'm not going to stop them from cooking dinner. A lot of people didn't give him permission to do anything, so yeah. Maggie discreetly passes Glenn a note asking him when they can have sex again, so this relationship's starting to kind of develop between Glenn and Maggie. At first you thought it was only going to be a one-time thing, but here we go. They're fucking again, bro. However, both Herschel and Dale Horvath witnessed this. They realize what's happening, and Herschel gets his first, hard evidence that Glenn and Maggie or something. Glenn writes a reply and returns the note. After dinner, Maggie reads Glenn's reply and is horrified as he promised to wait in the barn for her. And once you see what happens in the end, she rushes to try to stop him, but it's too late as Glenn discovers the barn is filled with walkers. Now, it's obviously shocking to walk into this barn and see walkers, but obviously Glenn, after a while, is like, alright, they're zombies. We've seen them before. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. That's what we're left at. Pretty good reviews. Daryl Dixon's development, Norman Reedus performing as him very well. The slow pace at the Green Farm, yeah, but I think the Daryl storyline is just enough to kind of cover that up. 7.5 out of 10 on IGN. It's a good rating. I think it's a good episode. It's one of the most important episodes in Daryl's runtime with the show. I'm not sure if he dies in this series or not. At least the one I watched. I think I watched like 5 seasons maybe. I faintly remember stuff. Because when the show first came out, I was 7 years old, think about it. So I was probably watching this 10, 11 years old. So a lot of minute details. I remember like what happened to Lori and the baby. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it has been GZ TV reviewing the best TV shows. We possibly might be doing movies this weekend with the National Cinema Day, the $3 movies. Might watch that A24 film Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Beast is an option. I haven't watched The Bullet Train yet, or Maverick, Top Gun, or The Invitation. There's a couple of movies that I can watch, but have a good rest of your day, guys. I am out.